JD in the Duffle Bag podcast, myself, Chuckie Online. I'm going to be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest models in the world. Business owner, all of that. Leomie Anderson, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Do you know what? I'm all right. Just before we started, we were talking about good side and that, yeah?
Yeah, what is your good side?
What is a good side?
Okay, so put it this way. When someone goes to take a photo of you, do you naturally turn to a side?
Nah.
What's your side?
Do you know what I do, yeah?
Yeah, what's your pose?
So before, when I didn't have hair, I would have my head down a bit, yeah? But I've noticed now, if you take a picture of me now, I kind of got my head up a little bit.
But why though?
I don't know, I think it's like show the beard a bit.
Oh, right, to show the undercarriage.
Yeah, maybe that.
Show
I
the
think
contour,
so.
because beard is just contour.
Yeah, I've just only noticed that recently, but I noticed that the good side and the bad side is such a thing for certain people.
Yeah, for me, 100%.
Why? What makes your good side a good side?
Okay, so this side is my good side, and it's because my jaw is more defined on this side.
How do you know that?
Because trust me, you learn your face. Like when you're a model, you learn your face. Like you'll see a picture of this side. I'm like, ugh, who's that ugly? Oh, it's me. It's me. Yeah. I'm the ugly. Yeah. But this side is like, spicy, and I can do more with my eyebrows. My smiles, more this side. This side is just like.
So I noticed that sometimes the good side is dependent on how good the eyebrow is as well, right?
But the funniest thing is, my worst eyebrows on this side, but this side is just the fire side.
Serious?
Even my smile pulls more to this side.
If I had to have a good side or a bad side, show me. So what's this side saying? Right? I'm going to do that and then I'm going to go here.
But see, I feel like this is your better side just because your confidence on this side is stronger. Like even when you dropped to this, you were like, yeah. This side you were just like,
okay.
But this side you were like.
Do I drop the head down or lift it up on a vibe like this? Or is it more of a vibe like this?
I even need you to come a little bit here so I can take it in a little bit more.
Alright, cool. So what, boom like that or boom like this?
I think that it looks better with a chin down. Chin down, yeah. And as I said, beard is a contour, and I feel like actually your beard looks better when you're chin down. I don't think you should even be doing. You don't need to show all the undercarriage of the beard. Okay,
fair. That's a bit of a reach. What about the smizing thing? The smizing thing don't really work, does it?
Yeah, I think that guys smize. But guys naturally smize when they're flirting with a ting.
Yeah. So okay.
That's a smize. That's a guy smize.
There's been times where I've spoken to a girl before, whatever, and then she might have been like, "Why are you smizing for?" And I'm like, "I'm not smizing."
Boys don't even know they're doing it. They think they just look so natural. You don't. Girls know when a guy's flirting because they're like.
Yeah. We kind of have a sweet boy kind of face when we sometimes.
Yeah, that's a smize. I don't know why I'm trying to name it some sweet boy. Stop trying to over masculinize. That's not even a word, but it should be. Yeah. Don't try and overcomplicate it. You're smizing, okay?
Alright, cool. How are you though? How are you? How's things with you?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here and to be a part of the JD Sports Christmas campaign. I'm very excited to see it all come together.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I don't know about you, but I've always seen I've seen your name about. I know that there's a few mutual people that know each other, that know me and know you or whatnot. And I thought, you know what, let me take this opportunity to try and get to know and understand a few things.
Oh gosh, I hope you've only heard good things. I wonder what you've heard about me. Good or
bad? A couple bad. We're gonna get to it later. We're gonna get to that later, Nadia. But so what? You're born in Jamaica?
No, I'm not born in Jamaica. Basically, a recent interview, they got all my information wrong. They said I was born in Jamaica. They said that my brother Leon was my younger brother. He's actually my older brother by 7 years, so clear older brother. Yeah. And I'm born in South London. They just add a little bit of texture, I think, to my vibe. Yeah. But I am Jamaican though, so I'm not offended by it. But I wasn't born there though.
Do you know what? Run with it.
I know. I would run with it, but
just say, you know what, Ochi? Yeah, boom. I was born in Ochi. Well, actually, just say that quickly.
My family's from Mandeville, innit? So I really do know Jamaica, but then people will be like, "Oh, do you speak patois?" And I'm like, "Nah." Then it just gets all complicated. I can understand. I can't speak it, so I can't lie and say I was born there, and I can't even sound like I'm from.
Nah,
there,
that's fair. What part of South was you from?
Southwest, so Collieswood near Wimbledon, Mitcham, in those sides.
What was it like growing up around that area for you? Because Southwest, is that more closer to the Battersea side of things?
It's just to be honest, Collieswood is just kind of it's just people just pass through. It's not really it's closer to Wimbledon, Kingston, Tooting, Brixton, everything. Collieswood was just in the middle, just doing nothing.
There, just doing his thing.
Literally just
doing it, just calmly, just doing his thing.
Yeah, but honestly, being from South, you already know. Wait, where are you from?
I'm from West.
So you won't know.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I know South. I used to go South all the time to go and get me my bun and cheese.
Okay, So you're just a beg of South then?
Nah. Like, I will never ever do that. No. But like I'm Western proud, but I've always kind of had a thing for South, and I don't know why that is. I think the thing that I found the funniest about South in particular was that as a DJ, I'd go to a club and whatnot and be like, if you're from West London, make some noise. And then only one person would be like, yeah, me.
Ooh.
Then you'd be like, East London. And then it's kind of like, yeah. Then it's North London. It's like, yeah. South, you could be in Luton. You could be in Leicester. South London always made the most noise. I'm like, why is that? Maybe what? Do you have the most estates or something?
Nah, we just have the most flyest people. I mean, I just think that South people, we like to go out, we like to enjoy ourselves. So it makes sense that when you're DJing, that a lot of people from South will be there because people from South like a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
But then, like, obviously, like as a kid growing up, you always have these things that you say that you want to do when you're growing, and it never really happens because some people say, I want to be a fireman, I want to do this, I think now it's maybe different for young bucks now because they got the internet and they can see all of these different things now. They can see YouTubers, they can see all these different personalities and say, I want to be a little bit like that. But for you, what was your thing?
I wanted to be a fashion journalist. Okay. I wanted to work in fashion, but I never ever thought that I could be a model. It never crossed my mind. I never wanted to do it, and I just knew that I wanted to write stories, and I really loved fashion as a way of communicating and sending messages. But I never once thought, like, if you told me at the age of 13 that I was going to be scouted and signed the next year, I would have just been like, what? No way.
Why?
I don't know. I just never saw myself as a model. I was very academic. I was more of a tomboy. I was the type of person who was like staying behind after school to do extra science GCSE. I didn't care about makeup or heels or anything like that. And even if I did care about makeup, they didn't have foundation in my shade back in those times. So, couldn't even get into it like that. But yeah, I just never thought it was a thing. And even though people used to say it to me all the time, I just thought it was like, tall boy, you should do basketball. Tall girl,
you should be a model.
That was it. I didn't think it was like a real thing.
Like almost like in some senses feeling like people were just automatically putting you in a box straight away.
Exactly.
So when that opportunity came, because how that came, you got scouted around the time you was 14, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that. When that happened, it's very different for people in school in your area or whatever to say you should be a model. But when someone actually comes from a certain industry and says, you know what, like maybe this is like, what happens then?
I still didn't believe it.
Serious?
That's the funniest part. Like, this guy came up to me and was like, hey, have you ever considered doing modeling? And I just thought he was a pedophile. So I was like, no. So I ran away. And then he came back the next day and I was like, oh, he's definitely a pedophile. And he was like, no, don't run away. I'm not a pedophile. Like, here's my business card. Give it to your mom. And like Naomi Campbell had been signed to that agency. Well, the agency that I ended up signing with. So I saw a picture on it. So I was like, oh, this seems legit. But I was like, I'm only 14. If I want to do it in like 2 years or something, I'll call them then. Like, I never thought it was something. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is my time and my opportunity. So I just left it on the fridge, gave it to my mum, put it on the fridge. It was there for like 3 months. And then somebody else from the same agency came up to me in Oxford Circus. And I was like, okay, maybe 2 people from the same agency. Like, I'll just go in and see what happens. And then I just got signed that day. I wasn't even going to go in. I was like, I'm actually tired, Mum. I don't really feel well.
How did she feel about it?
My mum was very much like, whatever I want to do, if I want to do it, I can do it. That's it. My mum was never like, this is so amazing. She was like, do you want to go in? I was like, okay.
Sick.
That was it.
Do you know what? Like, having a supportive parent like that goes a long way. Because it takes away a lot of the stresses of feeling like you kind of want to do something, but you have to kind of, I don't know, make your parents happy by doing something that like maybe you don't even particularly you want to do so much. But like, so what? Was you then thrown straight into like castings and stuff like that straight away?
No, when I was 14, I looked like 10. So I feel like I was like a slow burn. Yeah. So I would do a couple of test shoots and stuff on the weekends. So test shoots are just shoots for building your portfolio. Was you awkward and stiff and that? See, like when they put the camera in front of you. Yeah, I was mad stiff. I can't lie. I was mad stiff. Like, I'd be like posing like this. I don't know if you can really see. But anyways, I have my hand on my hip and they'll be like, make your wrist more relaxed. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, and they're like, break your wrist. And I'm like, they're like, no, break it. I'm like, like trying to just do what I was so bad. Like honestly, I couldn't walk in heels. My first pair of heels were stripper shoes from Camden. They were £20. They were patent leather platform, like proper prostitute shoes. And those are the first heels that I ever learned to walk in.
But ain't those the best ones to learn how to walk in though? The ones that are the most mash up, because obviously if you're walking in the ones that are the most mash up, then really when they give you the proper things, then you can walk in them, no?
Nah, honestly, I was just bad. I was just bad all around. No matter how much I tried to learn, I was just like, my ankles were too weak. I just never thought I'd be able to walk. And honestly, even my first fashion week, I couldn't walk. I was going into castings and they were just looking at me like, nah, this ain't it. But then luckily the one show that I did get was Marked by Marc Jacobs, and the reason why I got that show was because the shoe was like a wedge. It was just a wedge platform shoe.
So you got a blind.
Yeah, literally. I'm telling you, if Marc Jacobs tried to do any sort of shaky stiletto, I don't even know where I would be. I don't know where I'd be. I learned though. I learned along the way.
Did you did you have like a understanding of like high end fashion and stuff like that even at that age? Because do you know what? I go back to like the times when I was in school and whatnot, and like we didn't know nothing. Like nothing. I remember like, one of my brethren had these pattern Moschinos or whatever. Yeah. When I think about it, they look funny and they were proper tight as well. But like that was the only thing that we knew. I didn't know nothing else about anything else. So did you know what you was getting into when you were working with these brands? Like, did you understand what they were?
Nah, you want to know what it is? My first experience of fashion came from my older brother. Like my older brother was always like dripped out. Like he was always the person who had like Versace, Moschino, this, that. Like he was always like trying to find the new brands and stuff like that. But it was more to do with streetwear. When you enter into the fashion industry, it's just a whole new ball game. I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand who Stephen Meisel was. I was even calling him Stephen Measle, and that's like one of the biggest photographers. Exactly.
Sorry.
I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Listen, no, but that was even me. Guess what? I still haven't worked with him, so it doesn't really matter if I can pronounce his name or not, does it? Exactly. And he's like, oh no. No, but honestly, I didn't know a single thing, and I went into it totally blind. The only thing that I knew of fashion was America's Next Top Model, and that was complete fraud.
Really? Because I want to bring that up. Because actually, I'm not going to get to that just yet. Because I know you went to America, right? How old was you when you went to New York?
So the first time that I went, I just turned 17.
Wow. Yeah. And was that the first time you traveled by yourself or traveled like that?
No. It wasn't the first time that I traveled. I've been on holiday and stuff with my family. Yeah. But it was definitely the first time that I traveled for an extensive period by myself. Because prior to that, I think I'd done maybe one fashion show in Germany, and I was just there for one day, and I ruined that fashion show as well with my terrible walk. But that's why my agency were like, just do it out there. It was a very small student show, and they were like, just test it to see how you do out there. And then it was kind of in preparation for when I went to New York for Fashion Week. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, nothing could have prepared me for what I experienced in those early years of my career.
Tell me about that, because don't ask, but I used to watch America's Next Top Model a lot. That was my thing.
But it's a good show.
It really was.
I can't lie.
I had a very strong thing for Tyra Banks, a very strong one. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where you learned to smize.
Yeah, that's probably where I learned to smize. Yeah. I was watching her doing her thing, and then obviously that's a bit weird, isn't it?
No,
am I watching her? She's smizing, and then I'm smizing because she's smizing.
Yeah, but guess what? Now that's why you're getting the girls.
Well, do you know what? I'm not even mad at that. Mm-hmm. I'm just not even mad at that. But anyway, so boom. I have this thing in my mind, even up to now, because I've actually never sat down and had a conversation with someone who's modeled professionally like how you have, yeah? And so my idea of how modeling works is basically off that. And, you know, some of the things that I've taken from that is like, naturally how competitive that game is, that's true. How bitchy it seems to be sometimes as well. Is that all dramatized?
I feel like, to be honest, what people think the industry is, or things they think that these attributes are only within the modeling industry. I feel like you probably get the same amount of drama and bitchiness and stuff in every industry. It's true. I just think that with modeling, it's just such a cliche. Like, oh, they're tall, they're skinny, they're bitchy. Like, I think it's just a stereotype that models have. But to be honest, I don't think that part is necessarily like the truest, because I've actually now I think about it.
Well, let's talk about your experience then.
Yeah, from my personal experience, I haven't really met people who I would say are like, oh, they're so bitchy or whatever. Like, I've met people who are not great for sure, yeah. But I wouldn't say it's just because they're in the fashion industry or whatever that the industry's made them that way. They're just bad people, they're just
like regardless of what industry they worked in, they would be difficult people to work with anyway. Yeah, but like, tell me a little bit about your experience in being in like the Big Apple and kind of finding your way as a model anyway. That must have been quite an interesting experience for you.
Yeah, it definitely was, because actually at the time there wasn't that many black models going to the US and spending time there. The only model who I knew at the time was Jordan Dunn, and she was one of the first people actually who said to me, like, Leomie, when you get a chance to do this modeling thing properly when you finish school, just go to America, because the opportunities there are so much greater. But when you first go out there, it's very, very overwhelming, and I think that it's so easy for girls to lose their personality or lose who they are when they go there, because it's just so overwhelming. And you go to New York and a lot of people think, oh, I can just reinvent myself, I can be anybody. But it's like, the best way to win this game is to stay true to yourself, 100%. But when I first went out there, it was just mad. I'm staying in a model apartment. Everyone thought I was staying in some 5-star hotel. Yeah, first of all. So everyone back home's like, oh, I bet Leomie's living some lit life, blah, blah. Me too. I thought I was going to be going to some penthouse or something. Like, I was thinking America's Next Top Model houses. I thought I was going to step into this amazing penthouse and there'll be like pictures of Tyra and Naomi all over the walls, this and that. When I walked in, hostel vibes, yeah. Strong. As in, like, why has the TV got a back? Like,
it's one of them ones. Like, throwing it right back.
Yeah, right back.
Oh, can we just wait? Let's just talk about that. Young Bucks. TV used to have a back.
Off.
Yeah, literally. Like a big bum. Like, it's crazy. But, mate, go on anyway.
Yeah, and like, it was just terrible. The bath was brown.
No way.
Brown, disgusting. You had to wear flip-flops when you were like showering and stuff like that. So, there was roaches, there was mice.
How many of you was living in there?
In my first model apartment, there was 12 of us, 12 girls, 2 bathrooms. Wow. Yeah.
12 girls and 2 bathrooms.
Yeah, that sounded like a real bad corner.
That is an absolute nightmare.
And it basically was. Yeah.
And so what? And you lot all had to get ready in around.
Oh, so 4 girls per bedroom as well, yeah. And I'm talking like my underwear had been stolen at one point. One time I came back and a girl was wearing my shoes.
What? Oh, serious?
Yeah, it was like,
So what, you're walking around now and a girl could be walking around in your knickers?
Yeah.
That is absolutely outrageous.
And she would just be like, I don't know what you're talking about, Leomie, seriously.
Serious?
I don't know what you, like, what? This is my underwear that I bought myself. And I'm like, no, it's not, because you don't even have flipping Primark in wherever you're from, so don't lie. Yeah, I've been through it.
Oh my God. So yeah, that must have been really difficult to deal with at that time. But those things make you though.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things make you though.
I wouldn't change it for the world, because honestly, staying in that environment with those girls, it really just taught you that this industry is not for everyone, and that you really have to have your head screwed on for it to not break you.
Right.
Because I'd seen girls who started off so confident and like so happy and excited, and then they feel so crushed when they maybe don't book the biggest shows, or maybe they don't work, because out of 12 girls in that house, I'd say only 3 or 2 of us did
really went
well.
On. Yeah.
And that's always how it's been. Every model apartment I go into, you can start off with a set of girls who everyone is thinking we're all going to do well. And then when the callbacks start coming in, and it's like, your phone's not ringing.
Yeah.
To be fair, my phone wasn't even ringing like that either. I just got the one good show in my first season. But, you know, it really knocks people's confidence. Then the whole rest of it, like, the industry is just not for everybody.
So, you go from being in a space where you come together, it's all lit, everyone's kind of like, oh, this is really nice. Then you have to live together. It gets a bit difficult a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like the phones start ringing. Some rings for some rings for some don't ring for others. Talk to me about the first casting that you did when you was out there. And did you understand prior to even going what you had to do?
Okay.
What does it look like?
Let me tell you a story. Okay, let me tell you a little story. So the only part about when I first started that was kind of like America's Next Top Model was the first day that I had there. They told us to bring our suitcases in so they could look at our clothes, so that they could see what we would wear to castings, because obviously we were new. They didn't want us wearing any funky clothes or whatever the case may be. So first of all, I thought, you're telling us to bring a suitcase. I thought they were going to send us a car. They were like, you can make your own way there. So subway, yeah. And the subway doesn't even have escalators and that. So imagine all these girls, like 12 of us, massive suitcases on the subway, dragging it up the stairs. Americans just laughing at us. Ha ha! Look at those girls. Ha ha! Whatever the case may be. And then you had to open up your suitcase. So they'll be like, so what would you wear for a Calvin Klein casting? And I'm 17, so all I had was my Primark vest and my little Levi denim shorts. So I'll be like,
this and that
and shorts.
Yeah.
I just kept every costume. Marc Jacobs, black vest, denim shorts.
Yeah.
That's it. I just kept doing that, and I was passing. I was doing well. But then
you was passing with that, yeah?
Yeah, basic.
Neat.
Just keeping it basic.
Yeah.
But then other girls, their clothes were a little bit more funky, like white jeans with palm trees printed on some patent leather jacket.
Doing too much.
Yeah, doing too much. Like, yeah, this is what I wear for the Marc Jacobs casting, because Marc Jacobs is more cool and edgy, so I wear this jacket. And he was like, oh no, hell no, you can't wear that. She's like, why not? What's wrong with my trousers? She was getting vexed. Like, I remember my girl, yeah, she was like, this is very cool outfit. Seriously, like, what do you mean that I can't wear this to the casting? And so they were like, we're gonna cancel all your castings today, and we're gonna take you shopping so we can find you all these new outfits, you know?
Neat.
No, not neat, because this is what they don't tell you, is that nothing is for free.
The money comes out of your thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But they didn't tell you
That's how the music industry works and that as well.
Exactly.
Because what they'll say is like, yeah, you know what, yeah? Tell you what, we'll book this studio. In fact, no, we'll get this artist to give you a verse or whatever. Next minute now, when you check the budget and you're seeing what's left over, it's minuscule.
Yeah.
Oh, so it works. Oh, it works
It's the
almost
same.
the same.
It's the
right.
same. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
the same as the music industry. And
Did you know this then? See, when they went and took you to the
wanna
big,
know
what did you go, Fifth Avenue?
Yeah. Why would you take a bunch of 16, 17-year-old girls to Saks Fifth Avenue? I'm talking like girls are getting Michael Kors handbags. Remember, this is when Michael Kors was like popping. Michael Kors handbags, Alexander wearing basic vests, this, that. I said, you guys said I've already passed my test. I knew. There's something just told me. I didn't know the whole logistics, but there's no way that this is for free.
You
These
are
girls
a
are spinning
G.
around like Carrie Bradshaw. And this bitch. I was like, okay. They were coming out with bags. And I'm like, nah, I'm so good off of that. I just sat down. I remember they're like, Leomie, don't you want to try on something? I'm like, I'm so good, Lisa.
Yeah.
No. And by the end of that shopping trip, most of those girls were at least $5K in debt, because remember, our rent was $1,600 per person, even though we're sharing. Yeah.
$1,600 per person?
Yeah, for a month.
For a month?
Yeah.
The landlord hit the belly.
Yeah. Trust me. I know. That's the thing. Models really get extorted when it comes to like
$1,600 a month. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's actually
for 12
nuts.
girls for 1 month.
Wow.
And most of them have multiple places as well, and they're like trap houses. I was the one that the landlords hated, because I'd be campaigning. I'm like, we need a full length mirror. We need a full length mirror. You know, like
you wanted to at least get some element of money's worth.
Yeah,
right?
something. Yeah. I'm like, why is this pot like basically got a hole in it? Like, get your shit together, man. Oh, sorry, can't swear, but yeah,
That's calm.
Bleep me out.
Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like that foresight that you had though is quite admirable in knowing that. Yeah, this does seem a little bit too good to be true, so I'm gonna do my best to sit out on this one.
Yeah.
Then to understand that actually your instinct and your intuition was right, because of everything. That money has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Money has to come from somewhere, and you kind of have to be smart about that. Would you say as well that like that way of thinking has kind of helped you even with just like money management and stuff like that today?
Well, when it comes to money management, that's a whole other thing as well, because they don't really teach you. Of course, they're not, you're not expecting your employer to teach you anything. But the bottom line is, when a model first starts out, even the family is looking to the agencies to explain how things work, because for me, I was the very first self-employed person in my family. Everything was completely new. So of course, if your agents are saying work with this accountant or do this or do that, or this job's going to pay this amount or whatever the case may be, you're just going to believe them and you're just going to go along with it. But actually you realize, usually by learning the hard way, that money management as a model is something that is completely unique to any other circumstance, because you're not being paid regularly. There isn't any sort of like, if you're working for this level of person, you're going to get paid this much. There's no sort of guidelines or whatever. I could be doing the same job as my girl and she's getting paid double what I'm getting paid, or I could be doing double the amount of work, but because she's you know, more known, or her agents have negotiated her a better rate, or if she's obviously white as well, there's a chance that she's going to be getting paid more. But you don't know, and you're just finding out all of these things as you go along.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, you're like, oh, the tax man comes, and I'm like, wait, hold on, I have to hand over how much?
What? Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second.
He just says, yeah, you know what? Let me get that.
Yeah,
And I'll take that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, here you go. Here's the pot that I put aside, and they're like, oh, that's not enough. What's that? We need all of that. So it was definitely a process. And I always try and advise any models or anybody who wants to get into the fashion industry who's watching this, just really be on it with your accountant, be on it with all your receipts, be on it with everything, because I'm telling you,
it can get sticky.
It can get sticky. Yeah.
You mentioned something actually that I think is quite a conversation for like Instagram influencers and stuff. Yeah, in the sense that there's like these people are being asked to do stuff, post things or whatever it may be, and no one's really having a conversation about what the landscape really looks like. So it's like, for a lot of people, they don't really know, or they might be saying, all right, cool, you know what, I'm going for this because I understand how this thing works or whatever it may be. Then you get someone else over here who doesn't particularly understand it at all and completely undercuts everything, which then in some way affects the whole business, because then like there's like a massive disparity in who's charging what. And so I find that interesting that you even say that from a model perspective of like, yeah, I could be working with this brand who is like a super high-end fashion brand, but okay, what do I do? Do I charge the same as I do with the last thing or whatever it may be? And it just becomes a bit of a muddle, right?
Yeah, it's honestly one of the biggest headaches I find in the industry, is that if you don't have a good management team or a good agency around you who's telling you what's what, you won't even know that you're being underpaid, and they're not about to tell you. If they've got, put it this way, I've been in situations where I've been booked for something, I'm doing the job, and I'm asking the girls, oh, how much are you getting paid? And I'm getting paid basically next to nothing, and girls are getting paid tens of thousands, and I had absolutely no idea. And there's been instances where it's girls who I'm signed to the same agency as them, so how comes you're getting paid so much more than me? And I thought our agency meant to be fighting for all of us to be getting paid well. But that's not always the case. And honestly, I think it's definitely about us speaking more about things, and for people to start asking questions. That's why I never have a problem if someone messages me, oh, what do you think I should charge for this, or what do you think I should do for that? Because even though I don't know everything, I can still give a little bit of an indication. But when I was starting out, there was none of that, and I would just be finding out on set, oh, my girl's getting paid XYZ, or I'm not being paid to go to something and someone's getting paid this amount. And so
that's why I feel anyway. That's why I feel like in this climate now, like the conversations that are being had right now in terms of social issues and stuff is really good, because
very important.
Because you know what, like there was an elephant in the room when it came to how maybe, you know, a black girl or a black person might be paid compared to somebody else when it comes to stuff like that. But no one, like, if someone was talking about it, maybe it might come across as, you're just being loud and over aggressive or whatever. But now that people are actually paying attention, it's like some people are starting to realize that this was a real thing that has been going on for a really long time.
Decades.
Along with the mix up of the misconception that like someone like me, I'm thinking all of the models are mashing. I thought, like, talk to me about the misconceptions of the richness with models. Because for me, I'll be honest with you, I thought that as soon as you sign the thing, gone clear. It's like being an artist, and being like, cool, I'm going to sign to this label or whatever. Yeah, of course, you know that they might give you the big lump sum of money or whatnot, and that big lump sum of money might go to like budgets or whatever. But yo, you made it. You're out here, it's lit.
Yeah, I wish. You can sign. Being signed doesn't mean that you're going to make money. That's just first and foremost, because remember, I signed at 14. I would say that I didn't get money, as in I didn't see any money back until I was 18.
Okay.
As in, like, and I went full time. Well, I was working pretty full time from the ages of 16 to 18. And I would say, I didn't get paid. I wasn't getting paid because, remember, I was in debt, technically. And then Fashion Week shows, don't pay. They'll try and pay you in clothes.
Really?
And I'm talking like, not even like the good clothes. I'm not even talking like, oh, you'll walk for a designer and then afterwards you just get to go to the showroom and pick whatever you want. No. They're giving you the scraps, as in the scraps that haven't even sold in the sales section of their website. And they'll be like, here's this bright orange backpack that you can't do anything with. And even though we know your case is probably overweight as it is, here's some more crap that you can fill your case with. And you're like, okay, great. But I'm like, I've had to spend $1,600 on rent. If I'm, travel, this, that, the whole new wardrobe that certain girls had to buy, what's this orange bag gonna do for me right now? The answer is nothing. And so it's kind of like that for the first few years of your career, because you're always trying to make back the money that they've invested into you. And then even once you do start making money, the living expenses are very high. It's very, very high. And people need to understand as well, you can see a girl doing every single editorial, working for some of the highest brands, but the brands who have paid me the most have not been the biggest designer brands. It's been, the more commercial brands. And then some girls, they're not very commercial looking. They can be high fashion, lit, amazing, but can you sell a t-shirt, like a t-shirt to a regular person? If you can't, the chances are you're not going to be making crazy money unless you hit the big time, and then you're doing this and you're doing that. But it takes a long time and a lot of work and dedication to get to the point where I would say you feel financially stable. For me, I feel like I really became financially stable only in the past 2 years, and I've been modeling for basically 12 years.
I'm glad you said that, because you know what, I can't even remember who I was having this conversation with. We was talking about this is a little bit off topic, but it kind of matches. But we were talking about Joe Rogan and his podcast, and obviously he's got a big deal with Spotify or whatnot. And I've been podcasting for a long time myself, and so we was talking about figures and all these things, and I'm like, yo, that like Joe Rogan's been doing this thing for like 13, 14, maybe even 15 years. And so like some people jump into the game, whether it be your industry, my industry, whatever, and they will see a level of success and say, I want that now. I want that, but they're not really like, they might understand that there's a little bit of a graft in it, but you're not really deep in it. Like no. There's a grind,
grind,
and the thing is, it could happen quick. But see how quickly it could happen. It comes down just as quick. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Definitely. And that's something that's very prominent within the modeling industry as well, is that you can have a moment, and I've seen this happen for so many girls, you can have a moment where everybody wants you, and it's like, it's crazy. Like there's times where it's just like girls are booking things left, right and center. They're doing every single show. They work for every single designer, and they think at that point, when you're in that you just feel so elated, you're like, this is now, I've done it, I've hit the big time, and this is going to be my career now for the rest of my life. But guess what? Maybe next season they decided, we don't want the girl next door anymore. That's not the vibe anymore. And then you can go from walking like every single show to walking nothing. Like even for me personally, there was a time I remember going to Milan Fashion Week and not booking a single show. And obviously Milan is known for being really a really racist country, especially during Fashion Week. It's not nice. And then I remember that there was a season when I think like Naomi Campbell spoke about it, and all these prominent black models spoke about it. That season, I walked more shows than even some of the white girls who I was staying with in the model apartment, just because they didn't want to be seen as, the racist brand.
But then isn't that performative?
Yeah, it is, because the next season I was back to zero, weren't I? I was like, what the?
Yeah. But then how does that make you feel?
To be honest, you build a very tough skin and a strong skin from modeling, because you can't take anything personally. There's nothing that anyone could say to me that can make me think lesser of myself, because I've learned that some people are just saying things in the moment. Some people, they have a criticism and they just vocalize it, and they don't realize that they're speaking to young girls. And I've seen how it affects others, and I just realized I can't let this be me. I'm not going to let this person make me feel bad about myself. But it did take me a few years to become like that. And especially as a black model, you go through instances where you're hearing racist comments, ignorance, microaggressions. And at the time when I was experiencing these things, I didn't even know they had names. I just knew that it made me feel bad. And I knew that I was being treated differently because of the color of my skin, but I didn't know how to speak up about it. And not speaking is what actually made me feel bad, if you know what I mean. It's not even necessarily what they were saying to me, because I knew it wasn't true. Like if they're saying, oh, you're pretty for a black girl, or oh, you would look better if you were like this, or you would look better if you looked like that, or you had light, whatever the case may be, whatever they were saying, it wasn't necessarily what they were saying that hurt me. It was the fact that I didn't even know how to react. I would just be like, oh, is it? Yeah, like I felt like what really hurt me was the fact that I felt like I didn't have a voice to defend myself. I would go to the toilets, I would cry, I'll call my friends and just be crying my eyes out. I'll be in places like Germany being told, oh, why do you think that you're better than everybody else? Simply because I said that the makeup was in the right color for my skin tone. Right. Why do you need preferential treatment? Why do people like you think you're so special? Like when I'm 17, 18 years old, hearing those things, it hurt me. But what hurt me more was the fact that I was so shocked and stunned. I was just standing there like an idiot, like oh my gosh. Helpless. Yeah, I felt very helpless and very vulnerable. But once I realized, you need to just stand up for yourself, you need to speak up, and you need to have a voice, that's when I realized people's words can't hurt me anymore, because I can defend myself now. And so it's funny, I think it definitely made me a strong person, but now looking back, I realize it also made me a bit hard, but I'd rather be hard and not be hurt by those kind of comments than feel that vulnerability that I felt when I was younger.
What do you mean by like it making you like hard? Like, what do you mean by that? In what sense? So like,
in the sense that, like, for example, just the industry in general, I think has made me hard, because I can take criticism and I can tell somebody like, oh, I feel this way, or how you're moving is XYZ, and some people will be like, oh, why are you saying it like that? That's very like harsh. I just say it how it is, because I've always been told how it is.
Right.
Yeah,
oh, right.
You get it? Yeah, you get it? Like, it just is what it is. But some people, I realize now growing up that you can't always be that way, because not everyone's had the same life experiences as you, and not everyone can handle or take criticisms or just being spoken to in that way very well. So that's something that I'm even still working on now, because I realized that modeling really made me, like, if I have something to say, I just say it. If I feel a type of way, I don't hold it in. I just say it, because I prefer people to be that way with me. But yeah, it's not always the best, but in modeling, I think it's protecting
Who was your go-to? Who was your go-to? Like, when you have those moments, where like things get really difficult, even when things get really good, like who had been your go-to?
Definitely my two best friends, Bree Runway and Imani. Like, they've been my best friends for more than 10 years now, and literally they've been there through my whole journey, from when I was struggling and grinding, eating some crusty ass tomato soup in my model apartments, to when I finally got my own apartment in New York and stuff like that.
Was it tomato soup because you couldn't cook yourself?
Yeah, literally, yeah. I couldn't really cook these times. So.
Can you turn it up now though?
I'm okay now, but guess what? I got money now as well, so I can eat out.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, quick takeaway. Uber Eats and that. Quick treat. Yeah.
Sorry, especially when I'm abroad. Who's got time to be chefing it up?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm eating out. I'm living my best life
Exactly.
now.
Deliver that to me.
Yeah.
Warm.
But in the beginning, it was a struggle.
Yeah, I hear you. Is there such a thing as staying relevant? Like, how
100%.
Is there, like, how do you stay relevant? Because you was talking about, there's a point where sometimes they might turn around and say, you know what, we don't want the girl next door look anymore, or whatever. Like, how do you stay relevant in your industry?
Okay, so for me, my journey's been very interesting, because once I realized that actually modeling is not always about how hard you work, it really can just be about luck. I didn't like the idea that my whole career, my whole trajectory in life is based on what one man could think, or this casting director is the casting director, so if they're not working with you, that means that's a whole bunch of shows and a whole bunch of things that you now can't do. I didn't like that. So I said to myself, of course, I'm still going to be working in the industry and trying to, stay relevant within my modeling. But I was like, I'm more than a model. I have a lot more to say. I have a lot more that I want to do and accomplish. So I just started working on my own thing. So whether it was starting my YouTube channel back in the day, like I was one of the first models to be like vlogging. So you can actually see some of the model apartments in my old school videos. I'll be like, hey guys, this is, taking people around, or starting my own blog. Or once I also started taking more seriously my voice as a black model in the industry. I became very public, and I became more of an activist, I guess, that I got labeled, because I realized that if I didn't speak up about what we were going through, who else was going to? And I didn't want other young models to feel the same way that I felt all those years, you know, going to the toilets, crying, feeling so helpless, feeling so vulnerable, and just feeling like a second-class human being, you know. I didn't want anyone else to feel like that. So I was like, well, while the modeling industry is doing whatever, I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to speak on it, because hopefully it can help change things. And then I guess that is a way of staying relevant, but I didn't do it to stay relevant. I just did it, and I started speaking because I was like, nah, this industry, if they think that they can carry on making like girls like me feel bad just because of the color of our skin, I'm not having that.
Yeah, I hear you, for real.
Yeah, but then it just went viral, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so people actually want to hear this now, because it's something that
it's important.
It is important.
It's important. I think also as well is that like hearing people that have like hit a level of success and stuff like that, and like just even people that, you know, there's would be a lot of people that look up to you and that might be inspired by something, that what it is that you're doing.
I hope so.
and then experiencing certain things, and it's always important for them to feel like
they have someone to
it's not, they're not the only one that's like feeling that. It's not like a thing that is just all in their head. Do you get what I'm saying?
It does feel like that. I and it's so mad, because when I first started modeling, it was so normal for agents to say to us, don't be friends with other black girls, don't hang out with other black girls, because that's your competition.
Rage.
It's mad, I know, it's mad, but that was very normal. They'll be like, you know, don't go to castings with other black girls because they might get you guys confused. Don't go into a casting after another black girl, because the chances are only one of you guys are going to get the job.
One in, one out policy.
They say don't be friends with them. And some girls really took it seriously, and they were not talking to any other black girls. They were, because they thought, if I do, and you have all these people who are meant to be, you know, in charge of your career telling you that's the way to move forward. Of course, some girls were doing that. But then I realized, actually, speaking to more girls, and you know, people got tired of all of that, and the more years that you spend in the industry, the more you realize, nah, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because if that was the case, then if every black girl was doing it, then how comes not every black girl is doing well then, if we're all keeping away from one another? So we started to share our stories and experiences, and that's when we realized that we aren't the only ones. We're just one of a few who are feeling this feeling, and it's a feeling that is felt by black people within so many spectrums and so many industries. And so yeah, I realized that talking is really important in every walk of life.
Oh my god, man, you're lit.
Oh, thanks.
Before, there's obviously a massive part of it that you love, and a part that you've enjoyed and stuff like that. Like, talk to me about that. Like, just briefly talk to me about some of the highlights and stuff that you've had, and just how in a positive way it's changed your life.
Yeah, you want to know what? Like, it's so easy to talk about the negative things that I've experienced, but realistically, if everything that I'd experienced was negative, I would have stopped modeling a very long time ago. The thing that really keeps me going about this career and being a part of this industry is just the fact that there's so many different possibilities, and things are always changing. I meet new people every single day, people who I cherish so much, even people who I might not ever see again, but they've taught me something so valuable. And I think that with modeling as well, there's no 2 days that are the same. I can never say to you that I've felt like I'm in a rut with my career. I always feel like if something's not going right, I can turn left and I can try something new, you know. And I think that as long as you have that kind of feeling within the industry, and as a model and as a person, you're always going to enjoy being a part of the fashion industry, because you never know what's going to happen next. And even now, with the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, for example, I'm so proud that I stuck within my career, and I'm actually present and a part of it to see all these changes and positive things that are happening for black creatives. Even yesterday, they just had the CFDA Awards in New York, and it's been like, you know, a clean sweep. Like, so many black designers have just been winning, and I love being a part of the industry now, to be like, wow, this is sick. There was a time when I was told only one girl or one black girl per season can succeed, and now I'm looking at the runways and I'm seeing so many of my friends like killing it. I'm going into makeup stores now and I'm seeing girls of my complexion and girls who are darker than me representing makeup brands. That's crazy. Considering that when I first started out, I would just I didn't even know they had foundation for black people when I first started modeling.
I
like
wanted
literally.
I wanted to talk to you about that as well, but we'll do that another time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
part 2.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Give me an hour and a half next time, yeah?
Come
I
on
want an
now.
hour and a half
Come
next
on
time,
now.
yeah?
We got a lot of juicy conversations.
I'm
Maybe
telling
we
you.
can do a part 2 if this goes well.
1,000,000%. Let me tell you, 1,000,000%. But Leomie, seriously, really
Thank
appreciate you. You're a whole vibe, man.
Thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you
and
so
I feel
much.
like just the way that you speak and your experiences and stuff like that, yeah, will help so much people, like even in their journey and stuff like. And all the best, because you're still young, man.
Thank you
still
so
got
much.
a whole load of life to live in that too. JD and the Duffle Bag Podcast, Leomie Anderson.